Hello. One of the major problems in communication skills normally happen when we are trying to explain something to someone else by keeping ourselves in mind. See what happens that if I'm trying to explain something to you, I will explain it to you or I will communicate that idea to you by keeping myself in mind. So what happens that I'd be thinking that if I would be listening to the same message that I'm giving it to you right now, I would probably be liking it. And that basically is the problem with communication skills. So for instance, I have this pen here and I'm trying to sell it to you, for example. Now, how I will buy this pen, I will try to sell you exactly the same way. So I would say, I would certainly buy this pen if this looks good. And then I'll pitch my entire communication selling message across looking good of the pen. And then when the buyer, which has a completely different aspiration or intention or the reasons to buy, if that buyer won't buy or just simply say that I'll think about it or I'll let you know, then I would think, or the seller would probably think, the buyer is an idiot, that person wouldn't understand what I'm trying to tell you. Whereas in reality, I am, as a seller or somebody who's communicating with a prospect, is not keeping that person in mind while explaining about this pen. I'm keeping myself in mind and explaining it to him or to her by keeping myself in mind. So what happens that I would buy this if it looks good and if somebody tells me exactly the thing that I'm telling you right now. I would buy that. So why are you not buying it? Well, we tend to focus on that if it was me, this is the best possible pitch ever. But if it was someone else, obviously it is someone else who's sitting across the table with me, he or she probably would be interpreting the entire message completely differently. So instead of communicating something externally in literal terms, we try to communicate with ourselves. And we say, this is such an amazing opportunity, this is an amazing idea, the project's gonna go really far, or this is the way we should analyze our performances. And because we are sold on that pitch, we expect the other person to be sold on that pitch and say, wow, that's amazing. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, some people would actually say that because they have the same preferred thinking style like yours. So if you're a kinesthetic and you explain the terms in kinesthetic terms to the other person, that would work. But what if the other person is an auditory? What if the other person is a visualizer and he visualizes everything? Then you would actually lose the battle unbelievably and painfully. So to have this element in mind and very clear in mind that you are not the one who's communicating to yourself, but you are communicating it to the other, so the other person must be kept in focus. And then you alter your message according to the other person's requirement or their mindset. So in the same way, if somebody is not money motivated and I'm trying to tell them that money is so important, you'll buy so many things with money, you'll do a lot of shopping with money, you'll have a lot of freedom with money. What if the other person is not money motivated? But because you've been studied and given all that kind of theories in which they highly focus on the material needs of every single human, you're blowing the wrong trumpet in front of the other person. What if the other person is more of a spiritual person? What if the other person is more of a person who doesn't really value money to that extent in which you are taking money as? So by keeping these certain things in mind, you would actually work creatively on your communication pattern. And then you would say, let's just be creative and take a step back. Detach yourself from that situation and see, if this pitch is not working with this person, there is something that I'm doing absolutely terribly. So me, being a typical guy was actually saying, I don't really care if this is the way I've sold or I've communicated the same idea in my previous companies, to my previous bosses, to the previous clients, to the previous investors, and it always worked. Well, 80% it worked, so it will work here as well. Well, you're right. But why take the chances? Why not put the right ammunition, the right bullets in your weapon? I know it's a very wrong terminology to use here, but to make it understandable. Again, the same thing. You see, if I'd be in your position and somebody would tell me that the ammunition and the weapon and the bullets, I would understand that, but probably some of you wouldn't understand that and probably would feel a bit uncomfortable with the whole metaphorical illustration that I've just given to you. And that's exactly what the beauty and the dark side of communication skill is. So the next time when you're trying to present an idea to the other person, keep this thing very clear in your mind that you're not the one who is going to be buying that idea or that product or the service. It's the other person. So the other person is you, Y-O-U. So you don't have to focus on me or I, you have to focus on you. So you ask them the questions and then you develop that sort of a pitch, a communication pitch, and then you present your point of view across with clear conviction, with clear emotional pitching, I would say, and then also with the clear body language. And then the magic's gonna happen. Obviously, this is something which you would develop if you keep working on that on a regular basis. But practicing would eventually give you an edge over others. And I think that's what the entire, thing is all about. So, yeah. I just got a weird message on my phone that says the memory is full, so I just took a stop there. Anyway, so I wish you nothing but well. Take good care of yourself and keep following the page. Not the page, but the channel. Subscribe it as well, as I'm sharing a lot of informative content which is absolutely original in the sense that, yes, I have read a lot of content, but then there is an originality in that as well, which comes from my own thought process. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.